What's up, everybody? Ridiculously Citrageous here for the first time in a while, actually, and I'm ready to hop back into things with a big boy video. Many years ago, when I was a small piece of shit, not a large one, my mother took me on a shopping trip to a neighboring city, and I convinced her to take me to Toys R Us. Now, I wasn't particularly expecting to get anything, but as we finally approached the video game aisle, I found that the GameCube games were on sale, and one in particular had a pretty steep discount on it, so I played the demo on the store GameCube, and I immediately fell in love. And I asked my mother, and to my surprise, she said yes. That game was Star Fox Assault, and it is one of my favorite multiplayer games of all time. It's kind of a gem in my GameCube collection, so I'm going to be reviewing that today, and tell you why, if you have a GameCube or a way to play GameCube games, why you should pick it up, and why I think you'll enjoy it, and who I think will enjoy it. So, let's get right to the stuff. So, Star Fox Assault takes place after Star Fox Adventures. And it's after you get this foxy slunt on your fucking team. And this bitch, Andrew Oinkeny, is sucking off his uncle's legacy to instill fascism across the Lylat system. Then, all of a sudden, a space bug pop out, question mark. Thims is the Aperoids, whomst are the bad guys, with the motive to assimilate everybody into being Space Bug. Not optimal. So, Stairfax kills these bugs, and a whole lot of fucking cryptic shit and information is brought up and dropped and thrown away and ignored just as fast as just about anything in this game, and it is never mentioned again. Fairly standard for this era of storytelling, especially in a game such as this. Now, this is not to say Star Fox has a shitty story, but it is very much a product of its time, and it should be regarded as such. If you go into this expecting a deep story with a lot of character development and shit, you know, real, normal people shit like that, no, you're barking up the wrong tree. So, it leaves you kind of confused as to what the fuck went on the entire time you were playing. But if you're just looking for a fun action movie style story with a bunch of just insane shit going on for seemingly no reason, yeah, this is pretty much for you. This might be a convenient time to introduce the characters. This is Fox, who's the main character. This is Titties. This is a frog. This is a bird. This is a rabbit, who is a really good character, and his voice actor, this guy, is a fucking, like, holy shit. He is a solid voice. I mean, like, seriously, holy shit, this guy is good. Go this guy. Pretty great.
Lying in wait for us. I want all of you to proceed with caution.
We have another fox. No. He's a wolf. I'm sorry. There's a big difference there. That's very important. His buddy is a cat, and his other buddy is a lizard. These three make up the team Star Wolf, who is the rival of Star Fox for whatever odd and unexplained reason. They like doing bad shit. And then we have a pig who's a bad guy, and a monkey who's a bad guy. And a dog who's a good guy, but he's only there for like 30 seconds. This game, the music is a fucking very make dick very hard. Super hard boner, like Coke can. But for sure, this music is fucking awesome. Holy shit. The soundtrack combines some really interesting orchestral themes with electronic noises to make something unique and very memorable. Even after all these years, I still find myself humming tunes that I haven't heard in a very long time, because I just picked this game up again a couple months ago just to kind of fiddle with it, and I instantly got transported back in time by this sublime soundtrack. And even without the nostalgia value, the soundtrack stands on its own as something really amazing and enjoyable. Long story short, this dick will suck you. In short, this game's soundtrack will suck the dick right out of your fucking pants. And that's due in part to the fact that they are reused themes from Star Fox 64, which Koji Kondo worked on, whose body of work is much longer than Departing from typical Star Fox fare, you can actually hop your tight little ass out of the R-Wing and walk around shooting things or getting a Landmaster to shoot things, and as simple as that sounds, it's actually really fucking enjoyable. The levels are really big once you're forced to get out of whatever vehicle you're in and start walking around. The levels are going to be either on-rail shooting, a la classic what the fuck does that say? Strad Fox? A la classic Strad Fox, or kill X number of bad guys to kill X number more bad guys to fight a boss. Now, the R-Wing bits can either be the on-rails, or they can be all-range, which is where you can fly around in 3D space. Originally, I was going to call Star Fox Assaults kind of repetitive and boring without the branching path system, but after I played the same level, like 15 times, making sure my settings were right and I was getting a good frame rate and that it was high enough quality to record, I came to the realization that I'm an idiot, and in no way, shape, or form is this game boring and repetitive. It's an arcade shooter. So you'll really enjoy this if you're like me. You like going back for high scores and collectibles, you like arcade shooters. Even without the added replayability of going down some sort of branching path, this game is actually really freaking good if you want to go back and play it a couple more times. Or even a bunch more times if you want to get all the collectibles and all the weapons in the multiplayer mode. Now, I'm not saying single player is perfect, but it's definitely pretty good. I would like to see the branching paths return at some point. I would like a Star Fox game with Assault's gameplay and multiplayer with the added benefits of the coolness of 64 or even Star Fox Command, honestly. Single player does have some shortcomings, but not enough to warrant me saying it's bad. It may not be the best in the world, but if you like arcade shooters, the R-Wing portions are top-notch. Multiplayer is much, much better than it should have been. The multiplayer bugs. Me and lost so many nights to this game when we were kids. The best thing about it is it feels like it's supposed to be there. Multiplayer doesn't feel like it got Martin Luther to the door at the last fucking second. The maps, even though they are just the same single player maps that you've played on, they feel huge. And you're on foot, you're having dogfights over these colorful, neat vistas the game has to offer. It's awesome. It is a very good GameCube shooter. There are a few things more satisfying than chasing one of your friends down on an R-Wing and fucking jabbing them to death. You can play as Peppy or Slippy, Bird, Dog, Tits, Wolf, all of whom have different running speeds, health, jump height, and vehicle proficiency, which adds a small yet appreciated margin of choice to your multiplayer character selection. That's why I enjoy this game as much as I do. And if you're looking for just a multiplayer shooter to play with friends, this would be a really solid choice for, you know, a GameCube shooter at least. If you're playing on GameCube, you're going to be limited by a pretty tiny resolution. You're going to probably need to play on a CRT. If, however, you have a legal way to obtain an ISO of the game and run it on Dolphin, you can run it at 1080p 60 FPS on a fucking big screen and not really lose any sort of quality. There is kind of an issue that I need to address here right at the end, and so let's talk about that. The non-R-Wing controls suck dick. They are fucking terrible. and there is only one tolerable setting, and even then, the C-Stick feels really weird to aim with because it's got an octagon gate on it, so you can aim more precisely circularly, but you get sucked to one of the 8 directions, which is a pain in the dick, and the fact that this is a third-person shooter only makes that worse. So, the GameCube controllers are apparently not particularly suited to shooters. So, the GameCube controllers are not really particularly suited towards shooting things in a game about shooting things. That makes things just a little bit fucky. The Landmaster controls, you have to be pushing forward or backwards on the left thumbstick. Otherwise, if you push it like slightly off to the left instead of moving forward, you're going to be moving a little bit forward, but your Landmaster's going to tilt in whatever direction you're pushing that's not forward, which kind of slows you down and is kind of a pain in the ass to recover from if you're trying to get the fuck away from something.
You see that? That shit right there? That's exactly what the fuck I'm talking about.
This was a pretty universal complaint when the game came out, and I will attest to the fact that it's very difficult to get used to, especially if you played a lot of other shooters that control maybe a little bit better. But once you get used to it, it's really fun. The fact that you're having to learn how to control it in a different way doesn't mean it's any less fun to play. So, who's gonna like this game, and who's gonna want to pick this game up? I would say if you have roommates who you play Smash with your roommates, you play Kirby's Air Ride with your roommates, I would encourage you to pick up Star Fox Assault, because if you're already in a position where you have people to play with, if you're more of a single player person, you don't have people over at your house a lot, you don't have roommates, it is a solid arcade shooter, I'm not gonna lie, and the on the ground missions are very fun. It has a lot of extra cool stuff to do. The Landmaster is fun to roll around in, even in single player. This is a more multiplayer focused game, so it lacks the same kind of replayability you would expect from a different Star Fox title. If you're okay with that, and you're okay with going for high scores and not really worrying about the multiplayer aspect, I would definitely recommend picking this game up. Just looking on eBay right now, the game's not too expensive, around $20-ish. If you're a collector like me, you're probably going to be paying a little bit more just to get the complete in box. If you don't really care, you can just get the disc, and then
If you want a really good arcade shooter or a good multiplayer shooter to play with your friends or roommates, I would definitely consider picking this up. If you think you're going to be able to get past the control issues, which I know I bitch about controls a lot. That's like one of my #1 complaints when I play any video game. If the controls suck, I'm just not really interested. In Assault, they're just kind of harder to get used to, so it's not as big of a deal. Now, if you play on an emulator, you can set the controls to whatever the hell you want to, and that works out really well. I know I've got mine dumped to an ISO on Dolphin, and I'm playing with my PS4 controller, and I'm having literally zero problems. It plays just like any modern third-person shooter, with a couple caveats like the Landmaster thing, but other than that, it plays very well, and I would recommend this to anyone who's looking for a good, fun shooter to play by themselves or with friends.
So, thank you for watching, and you go have whatever day you want to have. Good, bad, erotic.